sat down, so here we are back again. Sorry for the timer pausing, and we're back ready to play. Ben had to go up and down some stairs, which, that's
I had
some
to get
hard
more
work.
wood for my fire.
More wood for his fire. That's not a metaphor, not a euphemism. So we are, of course, playing Maelstrom, the best role-playing game in the world if you want to roll high. We are all members of a band, which is Francesco and the Meatballs, in 1518 Strasbourg, during a dance plague, and about a month ago, a woman came out of her house and started dancing uncontrollably, was soon joined by 33 others, and in the space of 100 people had started dancing. About 15 people a week were dying by this point in the dancing plague, and it's spread to other towns as they hear about it. And our band, meanwhile...
Any resemblance to plagues, real or imaginary, at this point, is purely coincidental.
Yes. No, it's one of the still unexplained. There are several attempts at explanation, none of which really fit all the criteria. But we shall see what happens as night falls. But meanwhile,
so
our
not,
amazing...
not at all coincidental is what you're saying.
No.
Purely deliberate.
Hard to know. There's that's one theory, is that it was, and the others are that it's some kind of mass psychosis or something else. Yeah, Derek's big for no. Yeah, Derek's big. Love it.
Yeah, big.
So, meanwhile, our band is playing. Currently, we have the most amazing guitar, soprano, castrato, and flute trio going on. The roadie.
It is a get down, you Philistine.
Edward. Well, actually, yeah. So actually, a topless Frenchman is currently roaming amongst the crowd, not quite inventing crowd surfing, and they're ignoring him because that's part of their condition. But he is, moving amongst the crowd in his acoustic.
But they're not booing.
Guitar.
So we're going to put that as a
no. They're not booing.
They're
not booing. They're not booing. They're
the
dancing.
best we've ever had.
Yeah, there's no fruit being thrown, no vegetables. You've been paid in advance. This is like a dream gig. Doesn't matter what happens from here. You got paid already. So what are you doing, Johnny?
I'm
Grimvolt.
losing heart. I don't really know, whether I can keep calling myself a drummer. Am I even a musician? Maybe I'm not.
Wow.
This is the first time.
Were you ever a musician?
These are all confusing questions as a drummer asking themselves, "Am I even a musician?" Because the other musicians will not include you in their makeup anyway. But then again, nor would Francesco be included in the musicians. Guitarist, and that's it.
So I stopped drumming. I stop drumming and I take a couple of deep breaths and I say a silent prayer to the old gods. And then I'm gonna give it one more shot.
Which of those old gods, Johnny?
Yeah. Which one's going to kill you, Johnny? Because you're thinking of a spell, and that was your first mistake.
Who are your old gods, Johnny?
My old gods are the old gods of my country, Bavaria, or it was known as Bavaria.
Can you give me a knowledge roll, please?
Let's see if you know what you're talking about.
97.
Yeah, you know nothing. It's
Yeah,
all
I
good.
succeeded.
Yeah, keep going.
He got
You
it.
succeeded. Huzzah! Now, I hope you are all remembering.
And I'm leveling it up.
Yeah, to level up as soon as you make a successful roll. I realize that not many of you who've made that many successful rolls, but do remember that when you succeed, can you imagine if the system was, if you fail, you take experience off. Everyone's character would be abysmal. Anyway, so Johnny, you recognize in the mania of some of these dance steps, as you take this moment and this breath and this step back, you recognize what you think, but only fleetingly, is some dance steps of an old god's ritual that you know as the kindling of Nodfear. And that kind of insight gives you, there's something kindred happening out in this town of Strasbourg. So what are you going to do with this moment of insight in this taking pause?
I'm going to begin drumming again with a newfound focus. Not
Nice.
trying to kind of sync up with the other band members, but just with the heartbeat of the earth beneath me.
Oh, I love it. All right, so take. Yes.
Just a quick question. Do we notice?
No, because there's some glorious going. You might notice at the back there. You need to give me a perception check. But firstly, I need to see whether Johnny's amazing earth.
What am I rolling? Just another will.
What are you wanting to drum with? Will or?
Oh, definitely will.
Definitely will.
Best skill.
And your good buddy.
Sorry, Derek, you had something to say?
No, I want to do something after Johnny's. That's all.
Okay. You might need to get back to the stage. You've done your tour of the audience.
No, actually, no, I don't.
No, okay, fine. There's a cathedral tower, if you want to go and stand there with the wind. But anyway, so Johnny.
All right, so I'm going to make another will.
You are. You can take some inspiration from the earth, but I don't think you're going to need it. I think you'll make this one roll. Go, do it.
I didn't. You want me to re-roll my tens?
Take some inspiration from the earth from your tens.
I rolled the same again.
Oh,
64.
Maelstrom.
64 is not that far from 50, but it is not. Yep.
Yeah. Something's not in sync.
Yep.
Nathan, what were you going to do? You see some pause from the drummer. The beat stops.
You know what? They lack focus, and I'm going to help Derek out here. Derek, hopefully you can come with me on this. All right? They lack focus. So I thought of a light that could maybe spot like focus on one person, so that it would draw the eye. Maybe a light of spot, like a single spot. And so what I do is I get there's some like fire pits, and what I do is like a small like syringe like small like barrel, and so I punch out each end of the barrels to make a hole. Then I use that and I point the light as good as I can directly at Derek in the crowd, wearing nothing. With the
he's only topless. It's not gotten.
I can't see from here. It's very far away. But I spot
small.
But now
there's a lot of Derek Manflesh.
Now I can see it much better because there is a light of spot on him. That's what I'm going to call it. A light of spot.
How are you going to radio? What do you want to roll for that?
I don't want to roll, but
you don't want to roll. Clearly. I'm going to make you roll. What are you rolling? What are you rolling?
You know what? 80.
You persuade me. 80.
That's what it was.
They're coming down. They were in the 90s. They're coming down to the 80s and the 70s. So yeah, you're fiddling around with a barrel and a fire pit, and so nothing really changes.
Look,
Derek, what are you doing in the crowd? It was. You haven't given up. You're not like Wile E. Coyote. You haven't given up on it.
No, yet.
I, as I'm working the crowd, as I'm moving my way through them, I'm actually looking for the bucket that they're using to rehydrate people when they collapse.
Okay.
Is there a central water source?
Yeah, that's sort of because their dancing as you're amongst them is relatively erratic. They're not. They seem to be dancing in a trance-like state. So it's like the crowd of family members have sort of learned to put anything away from the sort of open spaces of the square. So yeah, sort of leaning up against the sort of the corner of the stage, there is indeed a bucket of water.
Cool. I'm going to make my way to that as if I'm going to go up and go back onto the stage. And as I walk past it, I'm just going to lay down that massive power cord and let it hang in the air as my right hand slips into my tunic bottoms, where I have a bull scrotum pouch
Nice.
And I pull out of that bull scrotum pouch some mandrake that I keep on me, which is a soporific and can put people, to sleep.
Ooh.
And I drop that into the water, and then pick up the tune again and move back up onto the stage.
Oh, fabulous! Well, you're all up on the stage. Meanwhile, on stage, we've got the most glorious duet of flute and voice. And you notice that the guitarist has come back to you after his crowd surf.
Can I try something, Murray? Can I try?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stamp my foot at the same time as playing my fife. And try
Take that,
create
drummer dude.
Something
that
Johnny can pick up on, because I think that Ben and I are
What,
in
a
sync,
rhythm?
right?
Oh,
So perhaps we can bring that rhythm to Johnny and
is that speed, or are you attacking the stage with your foot?
Ooh, I think it's my agility. Let's just say agility.
Right.
What do you think?
All
And Ben, you could maybe help out.
Yeah.
You could
Can I give
clap.
advantage? Can I agile?
Yep.
I sing particularly timingly.
Well, I think in this case, one of us succeeding is just better than.
Yeah.
Both of you
Better
failing.
than maybe
Absolutely.
two
That's
separate
a
roles.
general rule. That's a good general rule of thumb for role playing. One of you succeeding is better than both of you failing.
Okay,
So
I
I get-
succeeded.
I'm just going to put
I
that
get a
out there.
90, so I'm glad you succeeded.
And I succeeded twice, so I don't get to tick it off.
Ah, boom. Yeah. So, yes.
Yes, I'm
So-
stamping my foot while I'm playing my fife. I'm trying to get
So
Johnny
this is-
and Derek to meet that same rhythm.
Nice. Well,
I'm into the rhythm.
Yeah.
I've
Are
succeeded.
you slaves to the rhythm?
yeah. He
I'm
is. He
slaves
is.
to the
He's a topless slave to the rhythm. Yeah. So Johnny, suddenly there's another beat. The beat goes on, and it's not your beat. It's not your drum. Maybe you are distracted slightly by this knowledge that there's some connection with the old gods going on in Strasbourg, but suddenly you're brought back to reality by the fact that there's and it's a big drum sound, because it's a big wooden stage that's been constructed relatively hastily, so it's actually quite the good drum, really. Thumping the drum could be a bit of body percussion. You could invent something there, a bit like the Fleetwoods. Anyway, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to try and sync up with John's rhythm and play along with that.
I'm a bit distracting because I'm not quite in time, because I'm just becoming too florid, too high.
Well, I'm
too
more, yeah. I think I'll try and sync with John.
wise. Don't follow the singer.
Also,
I tend to listen to you anyway.
the whole stage is a drum.
The whole stage is a drum.
I
So
rolled-
do
I
you
rolled
want
a-
to?
Oh, sorry.
Go.
I just said I rolled 70.
Is that
Take it.
advantage on the
There's
die?
advantage. There's advantage from
Oh.
the stage, because the stage is
40. I succeeded. All right, I'm done. See you guys.
yeah. See,
That's
one of the
right.
great things about Maelstrom, other systems you celebrate a critical success. No. In
Yeah.
Maelstrom, you celebrate
Sorry,
any
just
success.
Oh wait, I gotta see if I
Scrape-
can.
A scraped success is brilliant.
Oh, and now I succeed again, and I don't get to level it up.
Yeah, that was what I
Oh,
just
well.
had the problem.
First time ever.
What?
And
So-
all night trying to get under 50.
Inspired by the fact that we now have the four members of the band playing perfectly in sync, and there's a visible effect on the dancers that they seem to suddenly rush and move and vibrate in time to this amazing
Vibrate. That's a
sort of harmonic.
Cacophony.
No, but I was trying to avoid cacophony.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Yeah. We've been trying to
Melodious
avoid
and
cacophony too.
harmonic, and that suddenly brings them into sync, and you can see that there's this. They sort of come closer to the stage, and they're moving in sync with the music. You are inspired at the back there, Edward, and I think we might have to have one more attempt at this amazing invention of the barrel light.
Well, can I be honest?
Yes.
It's a good invention, but didn't really go down well. The moment was strong, but the fact that the barrel was wooden is not great, and it was a dry barrel as well. So Maybe I get a wet barrel thinking maybe this one won't burn. Then I put it onto the larger fire. 17.
And light the spot.
Yay!
Suddenly, Francesco, you feel like there's a light hitting just you. You might misinterpret it and think it's the light of heaven, but actually it's coming from across the square, kind of horizontally, not vertically, like a finger of God or anything. So yeah, suddenly, but you feel like everyone can see you, and that you know you are now being shown off in your best light. And unlike the stage lights of the time, which were literally lime lights, so they were burning with a slightly green tinge, this is kind of fiery and bright. And at that, yes, all of the dancing seems to become in sync to you. You play on like a giant jazz jam session that goes on for minutes and minutes. Each one of you gets past a solo, and you do your thing, and then the others join in, and then they get their solo, and before you know it, time has passed and this is going down. And these dancers start to flop literally in exhaustion, and at that point their family members come over and they grab the bucket and they take a cup full and they go and sort of sprinkle the cup into their family members' mouths, and you can see that there's been some relief from their worry and concern over the fact that you have been successful, and before you know it, the dancers are asleep where they stood. They basically collapse, fall asleep. At that point, the town council comes up to you and with glowing faces, and they admit that it didn't start out that well, and it took you a little bit of time to get warmed up. But once you were hot, you were piping. That
could be me.
Especially you,
learning something.
Especially you, the flautist. Absolutely, yes, and they take it upon themselves that maybe it was their fault because they didn't they didn't give you any warm up, and they threw you straight onto the stage, and in a different environment, and you didn't get to test the acoustics out and all that. But they offer you a room on the side of the square for your lodgings, and it's been prepared for you all. And
does it have
they thank
grapes?
you. And
we asked for peeled grapes.
Well, that wasn't in your rider. It wasn't in your rider.
About the cash.
Blue M&Ms.
How about the cash? Did we get that bonus?
No, only normal rates. No, bad moment.
You can give me a persuade roll. Well, you can give me a persuade roll, please, Edward.
Let's see.
Watch him get like a 3 or something.
Show us your yeah.
Right. Hey, look,
can we make a perception roll?
Are you accusing Nathan of fudging that one roll that was really important that he made?
No, I actually did roll it. It's like the second roll I hit all night. So like that's 2 in a game. What's happening?
Yeah, that's Nathan's out. He's gone for the game.
I'm done.
The rest of the night he's So sure enough, you get, and it's quite lavish, because it's pointed out to you that you will be expected to be up first thing in the morning and playing again. So essentially they've hired you to performing, in the morning for the dancing, because it was suitic and obviously effective, and they're slapping themselves on the back for having come up with a not a solution, but certainly something that's kind of ameliorated the situation and sort of mitigated the problem they've been facing. You can see in the square as the light dims, there's people putting blankets on these sort of collapsed dancers in the streets. And they're sort of trying to make their family members as comfortable as possible, but they've kind of abandoned the idea that they might take them back to their houses, and let them, recover in any way other than basically making them comfortable where they are until they stop dancing, which is one of their issues. So you go back to your lodgings, and they feed you, and they the room beds are all turned on each bed, small chocolate. What are you going to do?
Eat the chocolate.
Skip town.
I think we should skip town.
Skip town.
Yeah, I'm not singing tomorrow. I'm vocally
I don't want to
fatigued.
do this again.
I'm going to take care of my voice.
We've never made it through a set before. What do we do?
Usually
Yeah.
Literally
Literally skip town. I'm not singing tomorrow. They're going to expect. They're going to expect me to go all day long, and I don't do that. I used up all my notes yesterday. Today
Seems
I
so
mean this
long.
afternoon.
Seems so far
All
away.
right. So who's voting for skipping town?
Mwah! I mean, Aussie or EO.
Oh,
The whole
it's-
band.
It's nigh on unanimous. What
Yeah,
are
we
you
better
thinking,
leave.
Nathan?
See if we can do. Hang on,
You've
Ben,
got a bit of
Ben,
a.
do your
You've got a.
Oh, hang on.
Murray's sitting here going, I didn't see this coming.
There you go.
Hilarious. Well, could be in for a really short night. Hope that old man got that thing on the tractor beam. So, all right. You.
Sorry. Does the story would like us not to skip town? Because we're
Oh,
totally
we'll
happy
see.
not to skip town.
We'll see. We'll see where the story leads us.
A crow appears. Rah, don't go this way.
No, it's not that kind of. As if you needed telling. It's not that kind of system.
That wasn't the end of the adventure, right? There's more to come.
No, there is more.
Does it need us to be in
okay.
town?
That felt like the climax of the adventure.
Okay.
No.
Succeeded in
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but you guys need to work out the mystery of why it's happening.
I figured that the whole point of this game was to get the whole band playing in time, and we succeeded.
It felt like
a band.
the climax of the
Okay,
game.
so from the character's perspective, this adventure is done. From the player's perspective, there might be slightly more to it.
Right.
Although, skipping town after one successful gig, it doesn't really make a band's reputation good.
That's a record.
What we need to do is
Kind of.
trash the hotel room.
Yes. Are there any televisions? Can I put televisions through?
I throw the television into the swimming pool, Murray.
That's right.
Yeah.
But if we leave now, that's one successful band performance. That's a record. We've made it.
That's right.
Yeah, true.
But let's
True.
trash the
But
place.
cancelling gigs is tricky. Derek.
Where did he go?
Okay.
I think just so Derek can know, Derek, I can't hear him, so his audio has gone kaput.
Whose has?
Oh, hang on. Am I back?
There we go. Thank you, Derek.
That's
Sorry.
weird. So I would like to maybe see if there's a physical reason for all of this.
Okay.
Can I go out and check the water supply? As you've noticed, I do have some affinity for poisons, and I want to know if anything is affecting these people that's in the water supply.
Okay. Great. You
So
go.
is there a fountain? Or
Yeah, look. There's a fountain in the middle of the town, and where you are in the square, there's water supply and aqueducts coming into the city, and underground water supply. So, and I mean, it's on a river as well, so there is flowing water nearby. So it's not environmental. There's not a stagnant water source that might be the cause of disease or anything else like that.
water doesn't smell funny or
Doesn't
look funny?
Doesn't seem to. If you make your way back out into the square, there's torches around the edges of the square, putting some light onto, what looks like a sort of a battle scene or a camp scene, because there's all these what look like motionless corpses, but are in fact sleeping dancers, and there's a couple of people who are tending their family members, and it's kind of hushed and very quiet. It's like there is no activity at night because the days are so exhausting for not just the dancers but their families and the rest of the town, worrying about what's happening. So yeah, you make your way over to the water supply and the fountain.
Yeah, look, if it doesn't smell weird and if it doesn't look weird, then I'm kind of at the limit of my scientific analysis of it.
You'll probably need to taste it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, I had something in my throat there. I don't know why I laughed, but that point.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to actually endanger my own person. But
All right, I'm gonna leave you bending over, thinking about drinking the water. Ben.
Okay.
I want to, being a good Catholic Italian, I'm going to investigate the obvious spiritual cause of this and investigate if there's some rot in the temple. Sort of, some.
You mean
satanic,
the cathedral?
That's right. Some satanic deal that's been, a pact with Satan has been made by the priest who's, given into a succubus.
Okay.
Or something like that. And
Fabulous.
Yeah. I'm going to sneak around the cathedral.
Sneak around. Okay, sweet. So you make your way out and you see the same scene. There's a familiar shape over by the fountain, but this is a sort of settled and disturbingly quiet scene of bodies lying around the square where they stopped dancing, and some family members tending them. There's some light being cast by some torches that have been sort of set up to give family members light to tend to their family. You make your way across the opposite side of this town square to Arnold's character, and there's the big door obviously at the front of the cathedral, the nave of the cathedral. You sort of are approaching that when we'll go and see what Johnny wants to get up to.
Oh.
Well, I'm intrigued by my little moment on the stage when I was trying to find the beat, and I sensed these. What were those gods I sensed?
You sensed a ritual known as the kindling of Nodfear, which was some kind of fire ritual that used to be held. And thinking back on it now, some of the dancing which involved leaping high reminded you of the leaping that used to happen in that ritual, where the celebrants would basically jump the flames, and as with so many of these things, there's also a sort of a Catholic explanation of that as well, but it's sort of a little bit. You had a real sense that this was the older gods were at play. So where would people who believed in the old gods gather, do you think? Where would they gather in a town that's going to be
I don't think they would gather in the town. I think they would gather outside the town.
Okay.
In the wild places. Is there like a little forest or something near the town?
There's probably definitely there'd be a copse that you would have, as a follower of the old god, you would have noticed at the end that there'd be a particular, arrangement of twigs to say, "Oi, here we are." So as you on the way in, you probably noticed the signs to tell you that this was the place. So absolutely, there's a copse of trees where there will be a stone circle set up, and if there are any adherents, that's where they'll be. And obviously, if their symbol is in the trees, that they're around. Nice. Okay, you head off that way.
So normally when a game master says like, that's, it's obviously the Geflügel of the Flugel, you think the game master was just making it up. But if you know it's Murray, it's like, nope. That's like actual history.
Historically accurate.
That's right. So cool.
I reckon there was an even door in that cathedral.
You make your way unseen out the way you came, and you're not noticed by by Arnold at the fountain. You're not noticed by Francesco at the cathedral door, and you make your way out of the town. What are you doing, Tom Thumb?
Yes. Hey, Tom.
I'm happy to follow the crowds.
Oh, do you want to come and have some fun, Tom Thumb?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're upstairs with the barrel working on the spotlight, looking out at things.
Spotting out the window.
Yeah.
So you're basically going to be Sauron from the tavern.
Or Batman might turn up. I'm not sure. One of the two. But like, Tom, come here. Hold it higher. I'm standing there.
Okay.
Now, you still haven't talked to me about the quality of how much money we're making.
Oh, yes, money. Yes. Well, look at that. Did you hear the crowd? They didn't boo. But yes, look here, and I hand you some money, which is, and
more money than you've ever seen in your adult life.
There you go.
1 shilling.
But
yep, like
I go along and I give him like his pay plus a little bit and say, but don't tell the others. We've got to keep it a secret. We've got to save these donkeys. Don't feed themselves. Well, they do, but that's not the point.
I think they do, actually.
All right. So your experiment with your barrel light, you haven't come up with a better name for it yet, it's currently it's a wet barrel light because the dry barrel light was a failure.
It's
but
a
the
light
wet barrel light seems to be working. Nice. It scans across the crowd, and sure enough, it passes by a hunched figure at the fountain who is contemplating taking a drink.
Wow,
sorry, that was a segue to you, Derek. Sorry.
Am I muted?
You are.
I'm good. Yes, I take a full swig.
Fabulous. Woo-hoo. Give me an endurance roll. No, don't, because it's fine. But you take a drink, and at that moment, one of the family members comes up and sort of drinks next to you, and recognizes you from your hunky, topless guitar playing earlier in the day.
Well, I'm still dressed like that, so.
Oh, you're still topless. Okay, it's luckily it's late July, so
it's mild.
It's warm. You're okay, and.
My nipples are still just a little bit erect,
but they always are.
Yeah,
it's kind of
she
not from the cold.
She takes a drink and thanks you for your playing earlier in the day, and she says, I think it's some kind of food poisoning. I think it's something in the food that they've eaten.
Why? I've completely forgotten my accent. Why do you say that, my dear?
It's a moldy rye, and they ate it, and then all of a sudden, this dancing happened about a month ago. I think it was a bad lot of rye that came into the city.
I have heard of such a thing. I was thinking maybe it was the water source, but. Do you have any more of this tainted grain?
You could say
could
things
ask
have gone awry.
Could ask the baker. Let's go and find. I think the person who discovers what caused this, and she gestures around at the square, will be the hero of the city forevermore.
Well, yes, I agree. Please hold my hand because it is still calloused from the guitar playing that I have been subject to, and lead me to this baker.
She takes you by the hand and leads you to the baker. Meanwhile, at the door of the cathedral, actually, no, let's do it this way. She takes you by the hand and leads you past the doors of the cathedral, and you do not notice Francesco prowling in the shadows. Well, does Francesco notice the Gittern player heading off with the girl?
Well, I'm intent on poking my head into the cathedral and find some enormous red horny devil sort of ministering to the priest.
If you'd paid attention, the red horny devil just walked past you. Holding the hand of a girl.
Snap.
Okay, I'm gonna. Can I do a notice roll or whatever it is? Perception and see if I notice him.
Agility.
I don't think you do. Attack.
35 on a 36, so I succeed.
Oh,
I perceive, and I fail.
You open the door to the cathedral, and just as you're about to go in, you see the familiar form of Arnold walking. Quite purposefully, not furtively away, with someone leading him. But by that point, you've sort of already stepped into the cathedral. Nathan.
I'm
Yes.
just gonna say, Ben, did your you know how you get Spider-Man has his spider sense tingles? Was it just your little bag on your belt just tingling a bit there, and that's how you noticed he was walking by?
That's right. My scrotum starts to tingle when Derek walks past. Yes, that's right.
But you don't have a scrotum anymore. It's like
No.
it's like a
No,
it's like a
my
ghost scrotum.
cow's scrotum. I wasn't saying
no,
my
it's like-
own scrotum.
No,
that
I'm
would
thinking
be
it is. I think it's a ghost scrotum. It's like I
ghost
still have the thing
scrotum.
that I've lost. There's a tingling.
a
Wait,
phantom
oh.
scrotum. The phantom scrotum.
Hang on.
That's good.
Is that a thing that would happen? Because you know when you lose a finger, you feel
Yeah.
as though you have a finger. Do you have like a phantom?
That's right. Yeah.
I
parts?
don't know that the experience of being a castrato went to the point of asking them whether they still felt that
That's
they had the thing that they'd
That's
lost.
my
But
superhero name. So when I put on a small
Phantom
mask
penis.
across my
Ghost
eyes,
scrotum.
I'm no longer
Phantom.
FrancesPolpetti, the fantastic castrati. I'm the phantom scrotum.
so
And
wait,
you're
so
wearing
wait,
the scrotum
we're,
as a mask,
mean-
which is double use.
Yeah,
I know
that's
that
right.
I know that we haven't really gone down the line of being Kiss
Historically accurate.
500 years ago. But
Yes.
so we've got our performance persona, and then when we
Yeah.
go out of performance
Yeah.
persona, you become the ghost
Yes.
scrotum, as
Yes,
opposed to
yeah.
Francesco the meatball.
That's right.
Right. No, nice.
I love
nice.
that we've just justified you wearing a scrotum on your face. That essentially historically we have just justified that happening. So
Yes.
I'm proud.
Right.
I'm proud.
So,
of us.
having noticed that, you then step into the cathedral just as Sauron's eye, otherwise known as the spotlight, swings past the door of the cathedral. In the cathedral, all is quiet and hushed. There's some tallow candles burning, but otherwise it's very quiet. But then
No
you
vociferousness. No.
you
Keep going.
distinctly hear from the direction of the crypt, and obviously all cathedrals are built on roughly the same plan, so it's the same direction that would be from anywhere else. You distinctly hear some kind of scream,
Oh.
Not as high as
and
ours.
it's a woman's scream, and it's a woman in
Is it
pain.
higher than Ben can scream, his
Yeah.
character, or is it lower?
He's competitive.
If Ben's
not-
thinking
yeah.
competitive, if Ben's thinking competitive singing at this point, it's more, for lack of a better term, to be far more hooky than it should be. It's almost tortured.
Wow.
Do you reckon
So-
you could pull it off, Ben? Do you reckon your character could do that?
Do you reckon you
Pull
can
off a
decrypt
torch
this
from
properly?
scream. Of course.
Wait,
I
are you
could.
going to ask him to act? Wow,
Oh,
that's
I would.
No, in
I
a
would.
singing kind of way.
Well,
like-
see, when you present something on stage, you have to manneristically represent. It's representation, so it's not the same as nature, but it's like an enhanced abstraction of nature.
Oh my
Here we
god,
go.
teach me more.
Ben hasn't read Stanislavski ever, John. Just so
no,
you
not
know.
yet. No,
Um,
it would be beautiful because why
Bang the
render
table.
nature as an ugly reflection of what it truly is? But why not render it as God sees it and God intended it to be? It would be a scream, sure, but it would be a beautiful, gracious, floaty, probably florid with lots of ornamentation scream and some
beautiful.
vibrato as well. It would be beautiful.
So maybe taking that around, Murray, is this a godly scream?
No, I get the feeling it isn't.
Not with that
it's
attitude.
certainly doesn't. I mean, it's coming from the crypt of a cathedral, and therefore anything that goes on in a cathedral should be godly, but it certainly doesn't sound like it.
So
Yeah.
my
Okay.
instinct, of course, is to run to the assistance of said tortured female, but I
Okay.
feel a little alone and exposed, and
like-
I might.
Then give me a willpower roll, please, Benjamin.
Oh,
Ben,
am I
I'll
trying
see
to
whether
stay
the-
or trying to go?
Whether the ghost scrotum runs to the rescue of this female
The
or
scrotum never
waits for
runs away.
reinforcements.
Is that his
I-
superhero name now? Ghost.
Yeah.
inside and
I think-
outside
I
of the
think-
game.
I think
I
the fact is if he makes it, he gets to decide, but he doesn't run, he rolls because he's a
I-
scrotum.
He doesn't drop that.
Absolutely, that's right. I succeed in my role, so I resist the temptation to just be heroic and to try and claim the glory for myself.
Okay.
And yes, pragmatism overcomes valorousness, and I withdraw to quickly gather my companions to assist in this investigation of this nefarious cryptic. activity.
Cryptical even.
So
Okay,
much
therefore, as you step out of the cathedral door in the prank-ish experimental spotlight development, shall we call it, it suddenly alights on you at the doorway of the cathedral. Nathan, you had something to say, or is your hand just stuck in that
I had
position?
to just release a pun because it's been sitting in my head the whole time. But I was wondering if Ben
I hate
could
that.
decrypt the problem. Because
I hate it
you
when
said we need to investigate the crypt, and I'm like, you need to decrypt it. And I'm like, it's in my head, and I had to say it out. If I didn't say it, would have sat there.
He needed to encrypt. He needed to encrypt, but he decided to make his will roll against that. But that's all right. I hate
Lit up.
the punt. Yeah, you know, when a pun is pent up, it
Pent
becomes
up
punt.
punt.
It's a punt. Yes, it's a pent up pun. Right.
I gesticulate. Lit up as I am, I gesticulate to my companions to quickly join me.
What's that look like?
Do you get that? Do you
It
get
looks
that
like
message?
Tom, what do you think he's telling us?
Oh, it's hard to see with only one eye.
Well, hang on, don't you have one of those glass things you can put in front of it?
Are you going to invent the telescope as well?
Or like something
All happening.
There's a window.
He does look like, is he dancing? He might be dancing.
He's caught it. Oh my God.
Can I make Murray, can I make an agility roll to see if I understand what Ben is doing?
Yeah. I'd like
Agility or
to.
knowledge? You want to do agility? Okay.
96. I think he's been overcome with that dancing plague.
I'd like to use my defense skill to support him on that.
Go on then.
80. I'm not even going to roll the other one. Generally,
I quickly
distracted
I'm
by.
gonna
turn my thing inside out again. My what's it
Your
called?
codpiece.
Codpiece inside out again, so that it's.
Are you wearing a red codpiece?
Well, there's no one around, so I can change it back again.
Okay.
So it's back
Ben,
the
give me
right
a
way again.
Yeah.
Give me a persuade roll, Ben.
Hang on, I haven't seen Ben yet.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a room.
No. You got the spotlight on him that you've been helping Edward practice
okay,
with.
cool.
Persuade roll.
Give us a
I'm so
persuade,
confused
please.
about
Unless you want to use,
the geography of where we are.
speed. You guys are in an upper story window of your lodgings, shining a spotlight out the window, apparently helpfully, but not anyone who gets hit by the light's going to think that.
So you're saying I could choose any ability I'd like against this roll that I rolled?
Well, they chose defense and agility, so yes,
Okay.
yes, you can.
So I've got
Like
agility,
pros.
which is like 52. I've got perception, which is 37. I've got attack skill, 42. Then
not
none
bad
of that
then.
makes any difference because I rolled 94, so they're all sort of
Welcome.
significantly
Right,
below
so
what I rolled.
you attempt to invent mime, and yeah, it's just confusing. And they really think now that you've actually
Yeah. Wow.
come down with this dancing disease.
I
Unfortunately,
don't know why I tried to
Mom was
communicate with
invented by a
movement.
French person.
So the B team, unfortunately, is on my right, and the A team is below me. But the A team is split into two, so there's actually an A team, a B team, and a C team at the moment. But that's okay. I'm going to
And
leave the miming Francesco in the spotlight with people peering at him on that
I should
side
have
over
used
there.
the power of song, shouldn't I? That was crazy.
You
crazy
should have. You
choice.
could have. You could have just called out, "Oi!"
Yeah, we were in
But,
talking distance.
You
Yeah.
could have sung out.
I could have sung out. It's the thing I do. See, my voice was so tired, I had to resort to like
true.
interpretive dance, and it was
Yeah,
just
you haven't
really
got, you haven't
poor
got enough
choice.
notes left. Yeah,
was like-
exactly. Meanwhile, we're going to go to Johnny and then back to Derek. Johnny, you make your way out of the city. It's not very far from the city, and you do all of the correct propitiations of the old gods as you approach. And as you get to this copse, you can hear whispering.
Ooh.
You know what that means.
Does it seem
I don't know.
like friendly whispering?
It certainly isn't prayers or chants that you know would be the way that they're said, and it sounds more earnest. That there's sort of like an agitated conversation happening between at least two people.
It's not aggressive. You don't aggressively whisper.
Yeah, I'm not going to sneak up. I'm also not going to call out. I'm just going to confidently saunter in there.
Oh,
Was that?
Okay, cool. So as you get closer to, so within the copse, so you're inside the copse now, you aren't, sneaking. You can hear that one of the whisperers is saying, "They're going to give us away. You saw them. They did they revealed the moves of the ritual as they danced." And then another voice says, "No one knows. Only you and I know. If we don't tell them what it is, they won't know what they're seeing."
They need help with the plot.
So you are now at the point where you could walk in on this conversation if you so choose.
Look, as a player, I think I'm probably not supposed to. But I'm just thinking, Grimvolt, as a drummer, is not particularly bright.
Oh.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I think he's probably bright enough to know that he's probably not going to be welcomed into this conversation.
Why don't you, Johnny? Why don't you make a persuasion roll to see if you're bright enough?
And then
I think it's persuasion. Yeah, I think it's will. I think it's willpower. I think it's Johnny's strongest stat to see whether he resists
will
or
he
not.
succeed?
Because don't forget, these are people of your beliefs. So creating that community in a new town is a.
I'm gonna leave it up to chance.
The dice gods, the old dice gods, Maelstrom.
I failed as usual, so I walk in.
Yeah, you walk in. Hi, guys.
Maelstrom. Can I just say, Maelstrom never lets you down. You guys are seeing it all wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I trust Maelstrom.
Trust in Maelstrom. That's right. Trust in Maelstrom.
Never lets you
I
up.
walk in and I say,
Hello.
Hello. I am like you. I am a besprecher.
They're visibly shocked, and they do the jump, of stereotypical comedic, like Looney Tunes. So they leap out of their skin, and then they're back in their skin again. Luckily, because otherwise it would be a different kind of adventure. And yeah, they turn and they look at you, worried, when you're clearly not, the law, and you're clearly no threat. They are stuck for words, and then they go, I am Johan. Who are you? Oh, you're the drummer. You were playing on the stage.
I am Grimvolt, and I know the ritual you speak of.
You heard us speaking? Did you see it too?
I did, from the stage, as I was
drumming. I told you someone would notice. But he's one of us. But it won't matter. Does it matter? You would certainly not reveal our secrets, would you?
Of course not.
But
which specific secrets am I not meant to reveal? You just pretty them.
All the secrets. Never reveal secrets. Come on, that's part of the rules, man. It's a rule.
Splitting the party.
Yeah.
We're very good at following rules.
I was saying, the whole idea of not splitting the party, if you take Lord of the Rings as your rule, it's like, no, you've got to split the party and then split the split and then split the split and split. So, all five of you need to be on single adventures at some point. And I've got you on Thor, which is pretty good.
Can we play married to you and me?
Nathan and John are doing their very best. Nathan and John are doing their best to resist becoming three, but that's good. I just got to keep it all in my head. So I leave you there having this conversation with these other adherents of the old gods. Johnny, Derek, you are led by the hand, and it's getting clammy, as held hands always do.
It's just a
and sure enough, just down the off the square is the baker, and she knocks on the door, and you notice, being a musician, that the knock is a rhythmical, not just a knock knock knock. There's kind of a rhythm, and it doesn't sound like it's stereotypically secret, but certainly it's a knowledge. It's a knock that's a special one, and after a very brief lapse of time, door opens, and the girl. Did you introduce yourself? Did you say?
No,
you
I
were
don't.
Arnold?
I don't think I did. Maybe my reputation precedes me.
This is the Gittern player from today, and the baker.
Arnold, the champ. My pleasure to meet you.
He's a baker. He's got a stack of chase cards, and
Oh no!
He's wearing his typical baker's apron, and he's already covered in flour because he's making the bread for the following day.
Yeah.
And yes, how can I help?
My friend here, what is your name, little girl?
Agnetha.
Agneta was telling me that you perhaps had some grain that was not quite ready for consumption, or I was wondering if you could show it to me.
Yes, I think we threw most of it out, but there might be some left. The town's council have already looked at it and decided that it was fine.
They do not have my eye.
Right.
Accent.
So he takes you into the back room where all the different grains are stored.
Your eye or your nose?
Yeah.
You can use.
So he takes you out, and surely enough, he grabs a small bag of flour, and he comes out into the light with this bag of flour, and you can see that it's got some kind of mold on it. And give me a knowledge roll.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Welcome to the rolling game, Derek.
Derek rolls more than 100.
17? I did it.
You did. You have heard in your poison adventure in search for new poisons of the ergot fungi, which for those of us playing along at home is a psychoactive chemical that in grains that have been in the wheat family, and ergotamine is the main psychoactive product in the fungus, which is basically related to LSD. So it's a fungi that grows in grain that gets wet, and is essentially a natural form of LSD. And this grain very much resembles grains that you've seen in your search for poisons that have this kind of disease in them. So very much this is something that. But you also know that ergot poisoning is not dancing. It's like bodies begin to twitch and gesticulate wildly. There's not any control in what the body that's being affected by erg is doing. It certainly would account for people twitching uncontrollably, but not for the length of time that they're doing it, and certainly not in any kind of rhythmical dance-like way that was saw when you were running around the crowd earlier today. But
do I know how long duration before it gets out of people's systems?
It tends to be something that, generally speaking, will be fatal. And fatal much sooner than what's been going on with the dancing.
Right.
So
but
you know that.
In small doses, though.
In small doses, it's essentially
for research benefit.
Yeah.
In small doses, it's in small
doses.
Needing
some inspiration.
You might write Strawberry Fields tonight if you take some.
You might have to roll advantage on these rolls.
Yeah. Certainly, if it was taken in the sort of quantities necessary to see what you saw today, A, it wouldn't look like that, and B, they'd all be dead well before they got to that state. Especially, it's been going on a month.
That could be a way to fix the problem, though.
Oh.
How do you mean?
Just saying.
Counteract their dancing with, therefore cancel each other out.
It
I
could
don't know.
stop the dancing.
That sounds a bit experimental for my liking. But of course,
Well-
John's not there, Derek. You're there. I'm going to leave you with that
know.
conundrum.
I'm on the B team, or
You're-
C
you're-
team, or D team.
You're on the.
I mean,
party team.
I do have something
Team
called
five.
Goat's Rue.
Mm. All right, I'll let you look
which
that up while I go
according-
and find out what's going on in the. So we've got a conversation being listened to. We've got you with the ergot. We're back at the cathedral. Your miming, Benjamin, is not having the effect.
Okay,
and you
I
can't.
don't know that.
I mean,
I don't know that.
You're kind of. Yeah, of course. You're blinded because there's a light in your eyes that's shining on you from Nathan's.
Confident that my message has been successfully transmitted, I turn and dash into the cathedral. Assured in the knowledge that my companions will be close behind me.
Close
to give
behind
any
you.
backup
Nice.
if it becomes necessary.
Never seen
As
such
you go
aggressive
back
miming.
in,
Can we
As
make
you-
a speed
as you-
roll, Murray, to work out whether or not him running in is different to the dancing?
Yeah, I'm going to use defense on that.
go on then.
Speed is one of my lowest stats.
Oh, he's so rock and roll.
Missed by 2.
Did you make it?
Do I get
Oh,
advantage?
make
can
it,
I
John?
make a speed roll?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I failed it. What is
we'll
Yep.
just
So
burn one
basically, Francesco's been sitting there gesticulating wildly. You're wondering what this dancing disease. Then all of a sudden, he's not where he was. He's just disappeared into the cathedral. You're sort of like, oh, we've got nothing to shine our light on now. You shine your light back across to the water fountain where Arnold was. Nothing there. And you notice also that the drummer seems to have disappeared and gone on a bender somewhere. So yeah, you guys are basically
perhaps
shining
we should
your-
go have a look and see where Al Castrato went to.
I blow my whistle. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So
that's
your whistle,
hardcore.
your
What's in the
whistle
cathedral?
wakes some people up. You're inside the cathedral by now. You hear a whistle that you recognize. Once you've blown your whistle, Edward, are you going down through the square?
No, I jump out the window. I'm
You
like,
jump
you don't know
out the
this,
win-
but
give
I am adventure. So like,
Give me
yeah,
an
sure.
agility roll, please, Mr. Broken Ankle.
I think it's more of a perception roll, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more of a perception. roll.
85.
Yeah.
Do you know? Look, normally fine, but what put it off was the fact that I was wearing a pelican. No, not a pelican.
Yeah, and my high heels.
Yeah, and I'm in high
Yeah,
heels.
it's the 2-inch lifts. Okay. Meanwhile, John's character had thought that he'd persuaded you and was heading out. The whistle. John, give me a 1d6. Have you got a d6 on you?
I do.
Imagine
Can
if
you
I
roll 1d6?
I rolled a 6.
6 people have woken up from the whistle. Now, unfortunately, you're wearing a red codpiece,
No, I said I turned it the other way around.
Yeah.
but it was cream, and then you turned it the other way around, so it's red.
No. I meant I turned it so that it was cream. Because
Oh,
I
is that
When
would
did-
turn it back to being red again to where it normally. That's why.
Let's go to the tape.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise,
have a cod
why
piece.
would I say it?
Right. I misunderstood.
I
I
agree.
thought you had a cream when you were
Yeah.
performing and then turned it back to red. And now you were going to go out into this town square
No, I said
and have...
I said I turned it back to no, I turned it back to cream when I saw him dancing.
It's very scary.
So I want it to be cream.
Okay.
Sorry, I want it to. Hang on, I forget where we're at.
I
now.
already
It's so
cast
late
that
at night.
spell.
What was what?
already
I
cast
can't
that
remember where
spell.
we're at now.
So
That's
you're
one
heading out the
protected
door
dog.
with a cream
I don't know what I
codpiece.
said.
At that point, Edward jumps out the window
We're heading in after Ben. John,
and
come with
it
me.
doesn't quite go to
Yeah,
plan.
no, it'd be red. It'd be red. You're right.
Yeah, red.
I think you're
Okay.
right. I think you're right. I can barely remember.
Okay.
But yes.
You're out
His
the door.
His perception was that he was on the ground floor, but he failed his perception roll. It was actually
Yes.
3 stories up.
Yes. So,
Yep.
what I need, therefore, can you give me a defense roll, Edward?
From the ground.
I'm calling this harden the F up roll, all right?
Yeah, this is the haystack for the donkeys that happens to be in the right spot when you land on it.
Donkeys don't need to
Assassin's
eat.
Creed.
They
That's
find
true.
their own food.
No, they're on to me. No, I don't get it. I don't know if I this is one of my old Maelstrom characters, which I feel like I'm really underpowered. But then again, I fail, and I'm standing outside crying very loudly with in a peacock's costume with heels on, up jumping from a window where I left the fire of my spotlight in the second story.
You know how in a lot of ballets, when there's a dance to represent a peacock or a flamingo or one of those other birds, they tend to stand on one leg and preen. You look like that because you've basically done your ankle, and you are currently standing on one leg at the moment that
have you heard a turkey sing?
Tom Thumb comes out the door, and you were already there ahead of him, and he's pretty sure he called to you behind him and thought you were following him, and somehow you're out the front door before him, and he's standing there in this white and green doublet with a peacock feather in his hat, and he's standing on one leg, basically with teapot arms, and you come out at that point, Tom.
Wait, how did you get out there? But how did? Well, come on then.
Can you
Right,
roll
so
a
you
tax
do
skill
a
to see if you
three-
can catch me?
You do a three-legged race. You do a three-legged race across to the cathedral, which
You're
will
already
take
out
you
the window,
some.
aren't you, dude?
Yeah, I am. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
catch me up
yeah.
because I was going to fall over because my leg's sore.
Oh,
Help
no
me.
time for that.
No time for that. You're a three-legged race now. Meanwhile, back in the cathedral, you make your way down the aisle, off to the side, not down the center, because otherwise you have to genuflect every step you took. And yes, sure enough, as you get closer to the crypt entrance,
Can
and
we
the
do
stairway
that though?
down,
A chase where we have to
three-legged
genuflect
race.
every single
Look,
time.
I think what we'll have to do. I will end the session very soon, and we will basically come back next week with the chase cards all
Important.
intact as you dodge the people. And as you get to the crypt, there's obviously a spiraling staircase down. You make your way down, bravely, heroically, Castrato-esquely, and you can hear voices. And you've been around the Catholic Church as a castrato, so you've sung their core repertoire for some years now.
Having gets cut off and stuff.
Very
you know the sounds of an exorcism when you hear one, and sure enough, you can hear the priest, and they are chanting the prayers, and they're trying to extract the demon out of some poor young girl, and the screams of her pain and terror punctuate some of this ritual. What do you do? There's no sound of help from behind. You two meanwhile are halfway across the square.
Just a whistle and a scream.
So this priest is just performing an exorcism.
Yes, but there's kind of torture involved too in the girl to convince the demon to exit.
Lean back into your mic, Ben.
So it looks like an inhumane act is being done.
Yes. Yes, it looks kind of driven. Sounds, you haven't quite got to visual range yet. You haven't turned that last corner. It sounds like this is a desperate act, like possibly they've been exercising for a month with no benefit.
I'm outraged. I definitely sense injustice and inhumanity going on. Familiar with that. That's something that the church is able to reach deep down to, and I draw my concealed rapier, which is built into my skirts, and I come hurtling around the corner of the crypt, ready to terrify with my drawn rapier, my pink and white lacy outfit, looking very menacing.
Menacing.
One of my most aggressive wigs.
Okay.
And just you wait. Intimidation.
Yeah.
If
So-
intimidation were a skill,
Was a Maelstrom
would be-
skill, you'd have scores in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would. They wouldn't be any use to me, but I would still have a score.
Right,
Would
so
it be-
you
would it be endurance?
No, I think defense skill.
Well, by the time I
You-
get there,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Nathan. You need to take 1d6 off your endurance score for
I
your,
don't really.
for your
Ah.
ankle.
Not really. No,
So, Ben, as you step around the corner, sure enough, there is
Yes.
a girl who is strapped to a table. There's an assistant who seems to be
soaring her
doing something with fingernails and pliers, and
Ah,
over her chanting the ritual is the yellow-clad priest.
oh,
So I will leave
Ah.
you there. Nathan and John, you're halfway
Ah.
across the square. Give me... Oh, I need to make a roll. That's crazy. Here we go for the 6
Oh.
people who are awake,
Fail.
whether they
fail,
see
fail,
a red
fail.
codpiece or not. Here we go. And
you're
of
talking
course,
about our
because
audience.
it's me playing Maelstrom, if they make it, then I'll be leveling them, because apparently that's what I do. I
Damn,
don't
you're
think
right.
I don't think a 64 is going to make it. No. Okay.
Eh.
Oh, 91 certainly isn't. But
it's
a
kind of a
5.
disappointment on both. Like if they see it, if they don't see it, it's like, oh,
A
I wore the red
5.
cod piece.
A 5
Uh,
makes it. You're halfway across the square, and you think you're doing well. There's dim light from these torches that have been lit around the perimeter, just enough to see if there was a red codpiece or any other piece
Did
of
I
red
say
clothing.
red,
But
Murray, or did I say scarlet? I feel like I should have said scarlet codpiece.
like
Did you-
sin.
I thought you said reflective.
well, if you're not lucky, then it will be the color of blood anyway, because at that moment,
Oh.
a piercing scream from one of the
Ben.
previously slumbering dancers rents the sky, and they're pointing at your groin, Tom.
Yeah.
And
That
Who
often
is it?
happens.
Beautiful
you're
scream.
you're sort of, and that wakes others, which will do. So you're stuck with being screamed and pointed at your groin. Ben has just witnessed some torture.
Welcome to
You
role
hear
play.
the scream from the square, Arnold, because you're just coming back from the baker with the knowledge about the ergot.
I was just about to get lucky.
And
Get your hands
meanwhile,
on some
Two,
buttons.
apparently.
we're leaving Johnny's character mid-conversation with 2 fellow old believers.
Can I just
And
say,
I think
it's not mid conversation. They just stopped and didn't talk for a while. Like it's been happening the whole time. They're just
Okay.
standing there, just looking at each other, just like,
so that was real time, Johnny. All of
Yeah.
that was just the awkward silence.
yeah.
So you've basically
So you
had
gotta break that.
you've had a 10-15 minute awkward silence. But I think we will have another break there.
Are we wanting a 5 or a
It's been an
10-minute
hour and
break?
10-minute break,
Okay.
or well, it's 10:47
Yeah.
at night for us. Do we want to break
Stop.
and come back to this
Yeah.
another night, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
let's
What do you
wrap
do?
it up.
Yeah?
Love it.
okay? Let's do that. Let's leave it on a cliffhanger for all the parties split.
Oh, but you should also add
Thanks for
one more
joining us.
cliffhanger. One more cliffhanger is that I don't know. I've got to think of something. I don't know. Anyway, let's go.
No,
I was thinking
think
we
we've
could
got
put on more cliffhanger than
That was
that.
so
We've
Come
got
on,
dramatic.
guys. We're better than
four.
that.
We've got four.
Just-
There's 4 cliffhangers. We can't really put too many more
I
on.
think my flowing
That was
pink
so
and lacy
smooth.
thing. Yeah, that was
Mm.
good.
It was very,
Great
very
cliffhanger.
seamless.
Love it. Thanks for joining us. This has been a game of Maelstrom, which has lived up to its reputation where most roles have been failed. But soldiering on, we've made that work for the game. And we will find out what happens to our wonderful minstrels next time. Thanks.
Yay,
Bye.
thank you, Murray. That
Thanks,
was amazingly
Murray.
fun.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Tschüss.
Are we
Why is it not
Are we gonna
cutting?
Go? Do you reckon?
It's not
do you reckon
cutting.
we'll
Still here.
Stick around.
I say, you're gonna see the other end of my high
That's
notes.
why. Bye.
Something like.